Namaste, everyone, and good morning, good morning, good morning. Welcome to the temple. I am Kira, and I am so grateful to be with you. And I want to bow before all of you right now and thank you. Thank you for your presence. Thank you for saying yes to being here today, right now. It has been an extraordinary journey, and we have arrived. We are here, and I look forward to hearing from you as well. And before we would go any further, I want to invite you to bring your hand to your heart. And the reason that I'm inviting you to do so is that, as you may or may not know, I have just returned from an extraordinary journey deep into Southeast Asia and extraordinary private time with the shamans of the Hmong people, both in Laos and in Vietnam. Extensive time in Cambodia at private temples, actually camping at temples where no other people have been. Incredible times there. And the information and everything has led me to a moment of the recognition that the temple of consciousness itself is already upon us, that we are at this moment. And the only way that I can honestly share this with you right now is in a letter, in a love letter that I wrote for you. And so before we would go any further today, I would like you to bring your hands to your heart right now and receive this letter. And as I read this, I wrote this for you. I wrote this for our moment in history. I wrote this as a way of sharing, because over the past several years, my life has been heavily scrutinized and heavily commented upon and played out in a very public scenario, a very private, profound moment for all of us. And so thank you for listening in this moment. I want to open with this letter. After the letter, I welcome your feedback, your comments, your chat, your raising your hands. I want to hear from you. And after I offer this letter to you, I want to share about the Temple of Consciousness that we are all entering into right now here in February 2026. So I again thank you and honor you for listening. So bringing your hands to your heart, thank you for receiving this sharing. On January 18, 2024, my life shifted forever as the gift of the yoga of self-ascension expanded and became my guiding lifeline. Because after 22 years of preparation from the ascended realms, my graduation was before me. Without warning, I was plunged into a new life as the one that was left here in this physical form to carry on through an unexpected moment of divine intervention. You know, the universe will in all ways keep us on that need to know basis. This is the kindness, the gift we are all given as we navigate this specific field of potentiality. For if we were honestly to know what was before us, the vast majority would say no. We would run away, as I would have done without any hesitation. I can assure you of that. Had I known that the complete surrender into walking the journey would include the loss of my two children, the human suffering of extreme projection and living through that, and the grief of moving into widowhood at a very early age, I would have passed. I mean, who wouldn't, right? And through the shocking and seemingly cruel ascension of wisdom teacher Sri Ram Ka, arose the magnificent and culminating gift of love from our partnership. The final chapter that has forever shifted all that I am as you are. The entry of that which had to be for this very moment to emerge. You know, starting in early 2025, the Ascended Realms began my final education, rising from a cocoon of isolation that called me to travel the world through a series of events that were honestly outside my ability to align. This was preordained. And as Sri and I had always done, I just keep saying yes. I will always and just keep saying yes. And so this all began in the northern regions of Canada, where I was blessed to meet people who are carrying the energy of peace through homesteading, beekeeping, the old ways of maple tapping, living 100% off grid as Shri and I had done for many, many years. So this was not unfamiliar. But what was unfamiliar was sharing time with those who have sustained this way of life since the 1970s. And yes, many of these people were American expats that had opposed the Vietnam War, and others were simply those committed to peace and harmony in our common ways of living. And what I was so honored to witness is that each was playing their part perfectly. They really were. And then from the frozen north, I returned to the south. And I was immersed with indigenous calls to be heard during this moment as this fire is beginning to melt that northern ice, right? The Amazon people are crying. They're crying in my arms. They're crying all the time, and they are asking and begging to be heard. And they are firsthand witnesses to humanity's self-destruction as they are doing their very best to carry on for us all. These people that have nothing that are still giving. And I so clearly see the overlay as I interact with the people of the Amazon from my 7 years living in Guatemala. From when I first sat with the Maya during 2012, actually starting in 2010, when they cried in my arms then and put out the book, 2013 Mayan Sunrise. Their tears were never really heard or received by humanity because we're so consumed with what we think is real versus that which is before us. So then the universe asked me to be part of witnessing the war in Ukraine. And I'm still wrestling with that one. I was in Latvia on the second anniversary of the war. I was gazing into the eyes of those who were suffering. I mean, really suffering. And I was able to really be with those who were looking for hope. I continued my journey and went deep into Lithuania. And here in Lithuania, I was honored to share time with many that have been so affected by the events that are spiraling around us. Firsthand accounts, some from the past, some from the present, but each one of them offered me the rare gift of listening, witnessing, and receiving these firsthand accounts from the people that had lived them. These are not written stories. These are the real thing. And then arriving back again at the home base in Ecuador, the United States called out to me. And as many of you know, it was over 20 years ago that the universe made it abundantly clear that I would need to be long gone from living there full time when this moment of our collective consciousness would arise. That I would need to be fully anchored beyond the full energy of a magnificent country that offers us so much. And I notice, even as I sit here right now in Denver, Colorado, as I'm reading this to you, I notice that I feel as a stranger in a strange land when I am here. I am a witness of a culture from the perspective of a global citizen with the experience of having spent the first 40 years of my life in the United States. And having now been living in other countries for over 20 years, my heart feels the beat of all humanity and our common shared experiences. And what I know firsthand is that we may live differently. Our homes may be a dirt floor or a hammock or a McMansion. None of that matters. We are truly one. And as I was composing this letter and that I am sharing with you now, I was on the plane and I was returning once again from Asia, a place that has my heart, a place that has called to me before, and I'm very, very blessed to have spent significant time exploring. Yet this time was uniquely different. It still is taking my breath away. This time, it was the sacred valleys, the mystical shamans, and the people of Vietnam, Laos, and Cambodia that are really calling out and need to be heard. And I smile, I really do, as I reflect with profound depth that my personal journey of expansion post the world that I had experienced before Shri transitioned, this personal journey began in Canada with those who chose not to engage the brutality of the Vietnam War. So all of this has brought you and I to this moment right now. The most critical, valuable, insightful moment we can collectively call forward in this field of potentiality. And for those of you that adored Shri, I know that the shock of the loss of his body of form so quickly was overwhelming, and I am among those. And for those who felt aligned with Master Lady Kira Ra, the support has been stunning and humbling, and I thank you because you have been and continue to be my guiding light, and my heart feels you and appreciates you deeply. For us all, the moments of the past 2 years have been a gift. They have been the gift of humanity's culminating and divine preparation. The expansive nature of the full range of human emotion through the cycle of grief. Because we're all in a cycle of grief. Our world is changing. And this cycle of grief shoots us out and places us way on another side. It's a cannon that once you enter is going to go off, ready or not. It's inescapable, and it arises into the life experience of us all in its very unique way. And it is through the pathway of the mystical journey that we release the intention to arrive anywhere. Instead, we are continually shaped by the depth of our ability to really hold the sacred consciousness of that which has so lovingly supported us. We each find our way as we anchor self-trust through forgiveness. And it is the active practice of the yoga of self-ascension that has, for me, facilitated the arrival back into the place where it all began. Love. Really feel that. Because the word love is often misunderstood in this worldly domain. We grow through love, and we often use it as a shelter from the storm, that STORM, to honestly see the oneness as we reclaim and remember our mastery. So this letter that I am reading to you right now is both my gift and my emergence into all that I am. The arrival into a moment that can only be defined by the actions we choose to take, by the movements that drive us to go beyond the seeds of self-sabotage, to face that fear, hesitancy, and doubt with the bravery and courage and the truth of our knowing. While I was in Vietnam, Laos, and Cambodia, the depth of once again being with those who have so recently suffered the horrors of war, my heart remembered Latvia. I felt the tangible energy of those who understand the value, and I mean the true value, of peace and human compassion. I witnessed the living presence of peace as a way of being. This was especially very, very predominant in Cambodia. And I see the horror of war on some of the faces and people I met, the power of forgiveness and compassion for others. I witnessed broad smiles. I sat with those that had had their eyes gouged out, the faces that are forever scarred, people that were poked, people that had no capacity to heal because it just wasn't available, amputated limbs, deformities. And yet every one of them offered me a smile and an opportunity to connect with the depth of our humanness. This is the eternal smile of humanity, the collective smile that rises through our ability to keep saying yes, no matter what. And I know that there are times when I speak the way I do, such as using words like in form or I am as you are, right? What I'm doing is I'm opening a door for you to consider. It's an invitation for you, if you will, to expand beyond the linear. I am as you are. What does that really mean? It means that to hold consciousness in a world that is doing its best to hold a status quo is a challenge and a gift, because we are all reflections. So when I say in body or in physical form, remember that we are looking to go beyond, to stimulate the aspects of your mastery presence, to enter the temple itself, to see that which is available through the eyes of your divine mastery presence, rather than through a lens of limitation. I am here for one reason only: to teach, to learn, and to honestly live as the temple of consciousness itself. And in order to do that, one must really be willing and ready to release the paradigms, the belief systems, and the dogmas that no longer serve us nor represent us. Remember that a thought does not define you. That which might be entrapping is really something that's expanding you to go beyond, to be the living gift of the shift. Be the living gift of the shift rather than be affected by it. So I welcome you to the Temple of Consciousness. I welcome you to yourself. And I honor you for the moment of listening to me. And I honor you for being. Thank you.